The idea of evolution has been around for a very long time, far longer than Charles Darwin. In fact, people have been wondering how life changes and develops for thousands of years. Ancient Greek philosophers such as Anaximander and Empedocles speculated that life might have started in simpler forms before gradually becoming more complex. However, during the Middle Ages, the dominant belief was that all species had been created exactly as they were, an idea that aligned with many religious perspectives and largely went unchallenged for centuries. By the 17th century, 1600s, Europe was in the midst of the scientific revolution, which emphasized observation and experimentation over reliance on authority or religious texts. Although no formal theory of evolution emerged at this time, several key thinkers laid crucial groundwork. Francis Bacon popularized the scientific method, insisting on observation and experimentation. Galileo Galilei and René Descartes questioned traditional views of the natural world, helping shift the mindset toward empirical science, even though their own work was primarily in physics and philosophy. In biology, figures like William Harvey investigated blood circulation and also explored comparative anatomy, while John Ray began an early form of taxonomy, proposing that species might change within certain limits. During this same period, scientists started taking a more serious look at fossils. Niels Stenson, Nicolaus Steno, recognized that fossils were the remains of once living organisms, not mere natural formations. He also developed the law of superposition, the principle that lower rock layers are older than those above them, showing that Earth's strata record a long and dynamic history. Although most people still believed in the fixity of species, Steno's findings hinted that life had changed over time, indirectly paving the way for later evolutionary ideas. Another belief common in the 17th century was spontaneous generation, where life was thought to arise from non-living matter, like maggots appearing spontaneously from decaying meat. Francesco Redi challenged this notion through experiments that demonstrated maggots actually come from flies, further nudging science away from mystical explanations. As scientific knowledge expanded in the 18th century, thinkers like Georges Buffon began questioning whether species really were unchanging. Buffon, a French naturalist, wrote extensively in his multi-volume work Histoire naturelle, suggesting that species could vary over time and that Earth was likely older than a few thousand years. He also proposed that similar species from different regions might share common origins and adapt to new environments, a bold perspective that foreshadowed later evolutionary theories. While Buffon ultimately stopped short of fully embracing evolution, possibly due to religious pressures, his work influenced other scientists, including Jean-Baptiste Lamarck. In the early 1800s, Jean-Baptiste Lamarck became one of the first to propose a formal theory of evolution. He believed organisms could pass on traits acquired during their lifetimes, as in his famous example of giraffes stretching their necks to reach higher foliage. Although modern genetics disproved Lamarck's mechanism, his assertion that species change over time was a critical step toward evolutionary thinking. Another influential naturalist, Georges Cuvier, simultaneously championed the idea of catastrophism, arguing that Earth's history was shaped by sudden, catastrophic events. While Cuvier disagreed with evolution, he confirmed that extinction was real by studying mammoth and mastodon fossils, proving that some creatures no longer existed, an unsettling concept for those who believed species were fixed and eternal. Thank you for continuing to watch this video, and please don't forget to subscribe and support my channel, and click the like button, and also post your comments. This will help in taking the love of Jesus to this world. Erasmus Darwin, grandfather of Charles Darwin, also speculated that all life shared a single common ancestor. In his writings, notably Zoonomia, 1794 to 1796, Erasmus Darwin suggested that life evolved through gradual changes, shaped by competition and adaptation. Though he had no clear mechanism akin to natural selection, Erasmus Darwin's ideas, alongside Lamarck's, formed an important stepping stone that inspired future generations. The most famous figure in this narrative, Charles Darwin, was directly influenced by several of these earlier developments. During his voyage on the HMS Beagle, 1831 to 1836, Darwin read Charles Lyell's Principles of Geology. Lyell's concept of uniformitarianism argued that Earth's features resulted from slow, continuous processes over immense spans of time, rather than sudden catastrophes. By suggesting that Earth was millions, even billions, of years old, Lyell gave Darwin the deep timescale necessary for evolution by natural selection to be plausible. After many years of research, Darwin published On the Origin of Species in 1859, proposing that species evolve because individuals with favorable traits outcompete others and pass those traits on to their offspring. Notably, Alfred Russel Wallace independently reached a similar conclusion, prompting the two to present their ideas jointly before Darwin's book captured the world's attention. At first, Darwin didn't know how heritable traits passed from one generation to the next, but early 20th century scientists rediscovered the work of Gregor Mendel, whose experiments on pea plants had revealed the basic rules of inheritance. Merging Darwin's concept of natural selection with Mendelian genetics led to the modern synthesis of evolutionary biology. Darwin's proposal raised big questions. How did life start in the first place? Where are the clear fossil in-between forms showing one major group turning into another? Darwin admitted that those fossils were missing in his day and hoped they would turn up later. Many gaps remain, and modern paleontologists still debate why the record looks patchy. There's another wrinkle. Darwin and Lyell both loved simple, steady explanations, little changes or little geological processes carrying on over vast ages. Yet some of their own observations didn't match that slow and easy picture. Darwin discounted his Chilean earthquake observations, events marked by sudden, violent uplift, because it conflicted with the slow and steady tempo his theory required. Both Lyell and Darwin have been criticized for grand conclusions from limited data. On the contrary, the biblical record presents a very different picture. Genesis teaches that God created distinct kinds, each able to vary within limits, but never meant to transmute into entirely new categories. Humans, uniquely bearing God's image, were fashioned from the dust and endowed with moral and spiritual capacities unknown among animals. A global flood provides a straightforward explanation for the sudden burial of disparate creatures in water-laid sediments worldwide, accounting naturally for the mingling of marine and terrestrial fossils, and for Steno's observation that many rock layers were deposited in rapid succession. Accepting the scripture-based model does not oblige us to deny all observed biological change. Variations, adaptations, and even speciation within a biblical kind are compatible with the text. What the biblical account rejects is the notion that such modest shifts accumulate to generate entirely new body plans, or that human beings emerge from an animal lineage rather than an explicit creative act. Thus, when we weigh the evidence, Genesis offers the clearest, most coherent account of where we came from. It explains why human life carries unique worth and purpose. Thank you for watching. Please post what you think in the comments. Also, please don't forget to subscribe and support my channel and click the like button. This will help in taking the love of Jesus to this world. You can also browse through my other videos in this channel that may be of interest to you.